And yesterday, I just kind of want to clear something up because I noticed that it was kind of a little hard to understand what I was saying. Yesterday, I was saying it's going to be the last side gig that I ever work. And I still hold true to that. But what I mean as a side gig is I mean a 9 to 5. A 9 to 5 to me is a side gig. It should always be counted as a side gig. And the reason being is because I don't think a 9 to 5 should ever be the goal or the destination. Now I understand that in some scenarios, it has to be. Like if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. Not all careers, but, careers that kind of advance humanity. But being the manager of this business or that business, you're just working for a logo at that point. And that logo is not going to care about you. That logo is not going to care in any way, shape about you. They're going to probably offer vacation time or offer insurance as incentive because they have to, because they got to follow laws. But if it wasn't the law, if they didn't have to, they wouldn't do it. And if they got to let you go, guess what? They're just going to find somebody else or hire from within. So it's important to just use these things as a platform, which unfortunately I'm starting to realize as of the last 5 years. You really should view it as a side gig, a side job, because a side job, you already have the mentality that this is only temporary or momentary. Or sometimes people use the side gig until they make it a full-time job. But what you want to do in your passions, your endeavors, that should always be the full-time job. Why are we thinking about it as a side gig job? That's why I think a 9 to 5 should be a side gig. Now, the reason why I think about this is because I really believe that the education of employment, the concept of employment hasn't really changed from, let me get polarized in here, slavery. Slavery and employment is no different. Sharecropping and minimum wage is no different. What they did was just allow you to feel comfortable in a jail cell. So for example, during the plantation days, and I don't care if you're white, black, you're in this conversation now. It's about class at this point. It's not about skin color. They just use skin color as a way to divide us and keep us arguing. However, let's look at it. On a plantation, what they did, especially during the sharecropping days, what they did was say, hey, I'll give you a place to stay, but you have to do all the work around the house. They found a way to modernize slavery, right? They said, I'll give you 10 cents and a place to stay, but you got to be my slave. Now, because you didn't have nowhere to go, what did you do? You stayed on the land. You were still treated like a slave. What is the difference between that 10 cents and minimum wage today? Nothing. It's just grew. But it only grew because inflation grew. And the only reason why it's somewhat different is because now you're not living on a plantation. You get to pick the apartment or the house that you want to buy. But again, the whole plantation is just now America. And they give you the illusion of choice because you get to pick where you live. But that doesn't mean it's any different. It's just evolved. So now when you buy your house, you buy your car, your apartment, whatever it is, all you're doing is making your jail cell as beautiful as possible, as comfortable as possible, to hide the fact that you're still in jail. The reason why I said that I made that declaration yesterday is because I really want my freedom. I want my freedom. I'm sorry. I want it. And I don't care who doesn't understand that. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, it is what it is. But just think about the concept. A lot of people will sit there and be like, oh, today is nowhere near it was back in the day. And there's elements of truth to that. Because physically, we're not getting chased by dogs. Physically, we're not getting squirted by hoses. And physically, I'd argue that is not the same because now race is involved. Race is no longer involved. So again, they blended that where the struggle is everyone. So it's like, oh, it can't be slavery today. No, but it is. They just changed the terminology. That's it. When slavery was going on back in the day, you literally had no choice to do anything because they would physically reprimand you. But guess what today is? It's now mental. Now it's mentally enslaving you because they'll pay you just enough to survive, and now you as an individual have to be in a crab in a barrel and hope that you're the crab to get out the barrel. Where everybody's gonna pull you under, haters, all these kind of people, distractions, things that are gonna just keep you from doing what you're supposed to do. And what do? They provide the distractions that the other crabs will go through to pull you down as an individual. That's all it is. There's no difference. So now we're enslaving ourselves instead of them enslaving us. So there's plausible deniability to be like, no, we're not running a slavery operation here, but it is. Everything from the education system down to the legal system. It's meant to enslave a certain kind of individual so that it makes it harder to get out. But at the same time, there is no getting out. There is no getting out. It is what it is. You're going to go through what you got to go through, and everybody's just going to sit there and deal with it. They even have your parents telling you this is what you should do based on how they grew up, because what they remember growing up is better when they're adults. So now that the kids are living at their level, there's like, well, you should be doing better than me. And while that should be true in hindsight, in essence, it should be true, times are also changing. Times are also changing. So it's not like it's not like you can do better in their environment because all you know is their environment based on what they taught you. You're in a new environment than they were when they were kids. So you now have to do the things that's different than them in order for you to succeed in your environment. Today's a completely different environment than half of the boomers that grew up. Period. So the only way that we're going to do so is we got to do unconventional things. And at the end of the day, shoot, the election's coming up in a few days. If we could boycott the election, that would be a great start, but we're not going to unify that way. So we got to do what we got to do to make sure that we band together, or not even band together, do our own individual part to escape and be free. Because none of us are free. Not one of us are free. They've just evolved the terminology to make it seem a little bit more digestible. But at the end of the day, you're still getting acid reflux. Don't nobody like their job. Nobody like their life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say everybody's that way. Obviously, there's outliers. There are different nuances and caveats. But for the most part, people don't really have something to be fulfilled with in their life. They're just going to work because they have to survive. But that's not what we need to do. That's not what we should be on earth to do. And until we see that, until we break that mold, it's not going to happen. So we have to do the things that, like I said, are unconventional to break free from that. That's why I made that declaration yesterday. Because I really do believe that it's time. And it's unfortunate that I learned it so late in life, but I'm now seeing it. Like I said, yesterday was the start of the last side gig I'm ever going to work. Because in the future, I am going to be a full-time traveler. And that's something nobody around me understands. So they always give me hell for it. But that's just the thing. Nobody around me understands it because nobody around me is doing it. I got to be the person to do it. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm not even going to say I'm going to be successful. All I know is I'm going to try. And what's going on? Ain't shit. How you? Yeah. What's going on, brother? My fault. I got to get to work. See you later. All right, y'all. So, yeah. That's basically the number one thing that I wanted to say from yesterday. Just to clear that up. My side gig is my 9 to 5, but I think about it as a side gig, so I know it's only temporary. That's about it. It's your boy Chris Jack, Canvas Nomad. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you got this far in the video, you my friend. I appreciate it. Peace.